On Christmas Day, when the world is distracted by noise, celebration, and routine joy, the universe quietly releases a truth meant only for the chosen ones. You were never meant to be understood, only fulfilled. Here is the secret in its full weight. Chosen ones often believe that one day, everyone will finally see it. The pain, the sacrifice, the loneliness, the discipline, the delays. But Christmas carries a different revelation. It is not a day of validation. It is a day of activation. The universe reveals that closure was never part of your assignment. You will not receive apologies from those who wounded you. You will not be fully believed by those who doubted you. You will not be celebrated by everyone who benefited from your silence. And this is not cruelty. It is protection. On Christmas Day, chosen ones feel a strange mixture of peace and separation. That's because the universe is confirming something final. You have graduated from needing permission, explanation, or approval. The loneliness you feel is not abandonment. It is detachment before elevation. Another layer of the secret is this. Many of the people you are thinking about on Christmas, the ones you miss, the ones you forgave silently, were never meant to cross into your next season. The love you felt was real, but it was seasonal, not eternal. The universe delays the truth until now because only now are you strong enough to accept it without breaking. And the heaviest part, your reward is not coming wrapped as comfort. It is coming wrapped as responsibility. You are being entrusted with influence, clarity, and impact. That is why childish desires are falling away. That is why old pleasures no longer satisfy you. That is why silence feels louder than celebration. Christmas marks the moment the universe whispers, you are no longer being prepared, you are being positioned. Those who are not chosen will feel only festivity. Chosen ones will feel alignment. And once you feel that alignment, there is no going back. 1. Christmas has a way of silencing the noise long enough for truth to speak. While the world is busy celebrating, exchanging gifts, and recreating familiar traditions, chosen ones experience something quieter but far more powerful: clarity. On this day, confusion dissolves without confrontation. There is no argument, no dramatic ending, no bitterness attached. You simply see. You realize that the distance you feel from certain people is not rooted in anger or resentment. It is rooted in evolution. Your spirit has changed shape, and what once fit naturally now feels misaligned. This realization doesn't come with hatred, it comes with peace. You no longer feel the urge to explain yourself, fix connections, or force closeness where growth has already moved on. Christmas confirms what your intuition has been whispering for a long time. Some people were never meant to walk with you forever. They were assigned to teach you, shape you, stretch you, and then release you. Their role was real, meaningful, and necessary, but it was seasonal, not permanent. What makes this moment heavy is not loss, but acceptance. You stop mourning versions of yourself that no longer exist. You stop trying to bring everyone into a future they were never designed to survive. There is a sacred maturity in realizing that love does not always mean continuation. On Christmas, the universe gently closes doors without slamming them. It reminds you that outgrowing people is not betrayal, it is obedience to growth. And honoring that truth is the first quiet step into your next level. 1. There comes a moment, quiet, irreversible, when chosen ones realize a final truth. Not everyone is meant to understand them. This realization doesn't arrive through disappointment or rejection. It arrives through maturity. You simply wake up one day and notice that the need to be understood has loosened its grip on your spirit. You see now that understanding is limited by perspective. People can only meet you at the depth they have reached themselves. Some will never comprehend your sacrifices, your silences, or the inner battles you fought without witnesses. And instead of fighting that reality, you finally make peace with it. Your journey was never designed to be explained. If it were, it would have been simpler. It would have followed familiar patterns, but your path required solitude, contradictions, and choices that looked strange from the outside. Explanation would have diluted the power of your becoming. Walking it was the lesson. Christmas exposes this truth gently. You notice that you no longer rehearse speeches in your mind, no longer feel the urge to justify your decisions, no longer shrink yourself to be digestible. Silence becomes your language. Alignment becomes your validation. You understand that the need for understanding often comes from a desire to be accepted, and you realize, deeply, that acceptance from everyone was never part of your assignment. Impact was. So you stop waiting. You stop hoping they will get it one day. You let them keep their interpretations while you keep your peace. This is not arrogance. It is freedom. When chosen ones stop seeking understanding, they finally gain something greater: unshakable self-trust. 1. At a certain stage of becoming, joy changes its voice. It no longer announces itself loudly or demands to be seen. For chosen ones, happiness stops seeking witnesses. What once needed celebration, validation, or applause now settles gently within. This shift can feel confusing at first, especially in a world that equates joy with noise. But what you are experiencing is not loss, it is refinement. Your joy becomes sacred because it is no longer dependent on circumstances or people. It doesn't rise and fall with attention, approval, or external success. It exists even in silence, even in stillness. Peace becomes the reward you value most, not because life is perfect, but because you have learned how to remain centered despite imperfection. This is emotional maturity revealing itself. You no longer chase highs that leave you empty afterward. You no longer need to prove happiness to feel it. Your joy is steady, grounded, and deeply personal. It feels less like excitement and more like alignment, less like escape and more like home. During seasons like Christmas, this quiet joy becomes especially noticeable. While others search for stimulation, you find comfort in calm. You don't feel the need to perform celebration or force cheer. Your contentment is internal, and that makes it powerful. It cannot be taken away, shaken, or borrowed against. This is not emptiness. Emptiness aches. What you feel is fullness without noise. It is the kind of joy that doesn't shout because it doesn't need reassurance. It has roots, and joy with roots can survive any season. 1. Christmas has a way of reframing your memories, especially the lonely ones. In the stillness of the season, the universe gently reveals the truth about your isolation. It was never rejection. It was training. What once felt like being left out now reveals itself as being set apart. Chosen ones often spend long stretches alone, not because they are unlovable, but because proximity would have diluted what was forming inside them. Loneliness stripped away distractions. It forced you to listen inwardly, to develop discernment, to build strength without applause. You learned how to stand without leaning, how to survive without constant reassurance. On Christmas, this truth becomes undeniable. You see how solitude taught you emotional self-sufficiency, how it sharpened your intuition, how it prepared you to carry weight without collapsing under it. Responsibility requires clarity, and clarity is born in silence. If everyone had stayed, you would have relied on them. If every door had opened, you would have rushed instead of refined. Your isolation slowed you down on purpose. It matured you. It taught you how to sit with yourself without needing escape. That is not punishment. That is preparation for leadership, influence, and purpose. What once felt like emptiness now feels like capacity. You understand that not everyone can walk beside you when you're being built for something heavy. Christmas doesn't erase the loneliness, but it redeems it. It reveals that every quiet night was strengthening you for moments when many would depend on your stability. You weren't abandoned. You were being equipped. 1. There comes a moment, often on quiet, reflective days like Christmas, when the things you once chased so desperately suddenly feel distant, almost irrelevant. The ambitions, relationships, comforts, or approvals you once begged the universe for no longer hold the same pull. This isn't failure, it's evolution. It's proof that your spirit has grown beyond what once defined it. Chosen ones often cling to old desires because they were tied to identity, validation, or survival. But as your consciousness expands, these desires begin to feel hollow. What you once craved with urgency now feels like a whisper from another life. The universe uses moments like Christmas to reveal this subtle shift. showing you that your heart is no longer entertained by what it once demanded. This evolution can feel unsettling, even disorienting. Part of you may still wonder why old ambitions have lost their charm. But the truth is simple. Your spirit is being aligned with something far greater than what you can imagine. Those old wants were never the end goal. They were stepping stones, lessons wrapped in longing, designed to guide you toward a higher calling. The liberation in this realization is profound. You no longer expend energy chasing illusions of fulfillment. Instead, your desires now resonate with purpose, authenticity, and alignment. On this Christmas, the universe quietly reminds you, growth often requires leaving behind what once defined you, so you can embrace the destiny that truly awaits. You have outgrown your old self, and that is a gift heavier than any present under the tree. 1. One of the heaviest lessons for chosen ones is realizing that closure is often an illusion. Some doors close without explanation. Some relationships end without apologies. Some chapters vanish as if they were never meant to exist beyond a lesson. And yet, there is freedom in this truth. You no longer need to demand understanding from others because the universe has already delivered the clarity your soul requires. Christmas has a way of revealing this quietly, but unmistakably. You notice how past conflicts, misunderstandings, and unanswered questions no longer weigh you down. You stop replaying conversations, crafting explanations, or hoping for reconciliations. The need for closure fades because you understand that some endings are not about justice. They are about alignment. Chosen ones don't require validation from others. They require internal alignment. You recognize that your peace, direction, and destiny cannot depend on someone else's acknowledgement. What matters is that you are in tune with your own path, moving forward without looking back. This shift is profound. It transforms disappointment into liberation. It turns frustration into patience. It makes silence more valuable than argument. What once felt like a wound now feels like a doorway. You begin to see that some people, situations, and outcomes were never meant to be part of your continued journey. On this Christmas, the universe whispers, you are whole, even without answers, apologies, or explanations. True power lies not in closure, but in the courage to keep walking aligned with your purpose, regardless of what others do or say. 1. For chosen ones, Christmas doesn't always feel like rest or leisure. While the world indulges in celebration, laughter, and tradition, you feel something different. A quiet activation within your spirit. Your heart and mind are alert, as if the universe itself is whispering, nudging, and arranging the pieces of your destiny. What others see as downtime, you feel as preparation. Ideas begin to flow without effort. Insights appear suddenly, visions crystallize, and clarity settles in with a weight that commands attention. Even in the midst of festivities, your consciousness is awake. You notice connections, opportunities, and patterns that escape the distracted eyes around you. Every familiar ritual becomes a backdrop for understanding something far greater than a single moment. It is a rehearsal for your next level. This sense of activation can feel both thrilling and heavy. You may not laugh as loudly. You may drift from casual conversations. That is because your spirit is receiving assignments the world cannot yet perceive. Christmas, in its stillness and symbolism, magnifies this awakening. The universe is positioning you. Every encounter, every fleeting idea, every quiet moment is part of an unseen alignment. You are not just observing life, you are being prepared to move it. Others see a holiday, you feel a calling. In this sacred awareness, chosen ones learn the paradox. Celebration is not always about joy, it is about readiness, and the weight of readiness is a gift that only those attuned can recognize and honor. 1. One of the most profound truths for chosen ones is that not everyone will understand you, and that is okay. For years you may have tried to explain yourself, justify your choices, or bend in ways that made you easier to grasp. But at some point, Christmas, or any quiet, reflective season, reveals the final lesson. Your purpose is not to be relatable. It is to be effective. Misunderstanding is not a flaw in your journey. It is a sign that you are moving on a path few can walk. People will misinterpret your silence, your actions, and even your successes. Some may question your methods, criticize your vision, or dismiss your growth. And yet, you no longer feel the need to convince them. You realize that your energy is too valuable to spend on being seen the way everyone wants to see you. Being misunderstood is the cost of being chosen. It isolates you from ordinary expectations, but it also empowers you. It frees you from the opinions that once dictated your steps. You can now act decisively, think boldly, and lead courageously, without apology or compromise. This acceptance transforms how you operate in the world. You stop shrinking to fit comfort zones. You stop explaining what is too sacred to justify. Instead, you focus on alignment, impact, and purpose. The power of being chosen lies in this paradox. Freedom comes when no one fully understands you, but your effectiveness finally speaks for itself. Christmas reveals this with subtle force. You are not here to be understood. You are here to fulfill your calling. Conclusion. Christmas does not crown chosen ones with applause. It crowns them with clarity. You finally understand that your journey was never meant to be easy, shared, or validated. It was meant to be effective. Every delay, every misunderstanding, every silent battle refined you for a higher role. The universe didn't isolate you to punish you. It isolated you to protect what was forming inside you. This is why you no longer crave crowds. This is why you feel different around people you once loved. This is why peace feels heavier than excitement. Christmas marks the shift from hoping to knowing, from surviving to positioning, from preparation to responsibility. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not alone. You are aligned. And once alignment happens, the universe no longer negotiates with doubt. It moves through you.